she also is a goddess of witchcraft and magic, and I just think that's fun.
Yeah, sounds like every woman I've dated in my life.
Right? Ouch, Kris.
And now,
I'm the captain now.
coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California.
This sounds great. You sound amazing.
I always sound amazing.
It's the world famous
Everybody's hitting off like BFFs.
Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for listening, and I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 138 of the Kris and Kristine Show.
Glorious, fantastic. It is Monday as we record this.
Yes, it definitely is. And do you know what else it is, Kris?
It is, I don't know what.
It is our podcast anniversary.
No way.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
For
3
real?
years. Yes. Because you proposed to me right before the 5th episode of our podcast. And that was on like September 9th or something like that. And so this would be 5 weeks before that. It is our 3-year podcast anniversary.
Hallelujah. Fantastic.
Can you believe that?
3 years?
That's insane.
Whoa.
We've been married for almost 2 full years on top of
Check that out,
Isn't
man.
that amazing? Happy podcast anniversary.
Well, thank you. And
I think we should celebrate.
Yeah, we should. What are we going to do today?
Froyo.
Oh, yeah? That sounds
It's a
awesome.
BOGO for Froyo.
That's how we do it.
How many little phrases can we make? BOGO for Froyo. Ho ho.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, Froyo stands for frozen yogurt. Because I know.
And BOGO's buy one, get one free.
Yes. She's got all the acronyms going on here. I know a lot of places don't even have Froyo. Like, it's not even a thing. I thought it was
What?
everywhere. Yeah.
You're a liar.
No, it's
How do
true.
people live without frozen yogurt?
Ice cream, maybe?
I don't know, but Froyo, it's like all the fun and half the calories.
I wonder if you work for like Baskin Robbins or Ben and Jerry's, you like turn your nose up to anybody who like mentions frozen yogurt.
No, because Baskin Robbins has frozen yogurt, and
Well, they
so
do
does
now.
Ben and Jerry's.
Hey, who is that caller right here running around the room here?
It's Clover, the podcast puppy.
Clover's our podcasting mascot as she is celebrating our 3-year anniversary podcasting. Clover
Yep.
had to come in here and hang out.
Yep, she's just lounging around the studio right now, so don't mind when you hear the little collar jingle. That just means that Clover's chiming in and shaking it up, right?
Yeah, she was getting a little worried about us because she was hyping and whining and crying. Please hold me. Please hold me. Please hold me.
That's what she does because I've been at work all day, because today is the day that I had to return to the office.
What is that even like?
Well, I mean, we're going back 1 day a week and we work remotely 4, but I have to kick off the beginning of the week in the office from now on. So today was the
Mondays.
first of many. Yeah.
It's a Monday blues you got, right?
Yeah, but you know what? It wasn't so blue because people are kind of easing their way back into the office. But I arrived to a brand new monitor docking station
No
setup
way.
and a new keyboard and mouse to go connected to my laptop. It was really nice because I have had to kind of limp around with my setup at my main, like the stationary office where I work in San Diego, because I had all of the rest of my technology here. And so, it was nice to be able to actually get a full setup and to feel organized and relaxed and able to do my work today. I got so much work done.
Hey, speaking of that monitor, do you feel like you're like mission control or something like that? Like you got NASA, you're like controlling the space shuttle or something with that big old thing?
No, I mean, it is really a big monitor. It's like way bigger than the one that I currently have, but it's this Dell Teams monitor. And so what it means, so we're moving away from using Zoom.
No, you're not. Really?
Well, my work is because it's not as secure.
It's not that Zoom had it all locked up.
No, because remember when they had all like the Zoom bombing people?
That was only because people were like giving out the passwords to like somebody randomly.
No, it's
and they
because
were doing
the meetings had like random meeting IDs, so they could like type in a number and then they'd like pop into a room. Because
How many characters is that number ID?
It's like 6.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it was like
6.
1,000 or something.
No, it's like 6, and it's like numbers, not even a mix of like numbers and letters. So Teams is much more stable and secure, but this monitor, it's really cool because it's actually built in on the front of the monitor that you can like click a button and it opens up Teams for you. You can click a button on the monitor to mute and unmute yourself.
right
turn up the
on the
volume.
actual monitor itself.
And then there's a little like what's it called? Like a phone icon.
Yeah.
Where you can click it and then it opens up the calling feature on Teams. And so
No way.
what's funny is I set up my new monitor with and the docking station's built into it, so I don't have to have a separate unit. But I set it up and my boss was calling me on Teams right as I finished setup, and I just plugged my headphones right in. Everything popped right open. I was able to chat with him, and I was like, oh gosh, this is actually super easy.
You know what it sounds like? It reminds me of those like universal remote controls that had the button for the VCR and the button for the cable box.
Yeah.
And the button for the whatever.
But this one is so much easier because it's like a universal remote versus like the ones where it's like, here's for your cable, here's for your surround sound like we have. Oh my gosh, we have so many remotes in this house.
I know. I can't figure it out. Every time I use a TV set, it's like a new mission trying to figure out, is this going to work or not? I'm pushing buttons. This button doesn't. And one remote turns on one thing and you think it turns on the TV, but it turns on the surround sound.
Yeah.
And they got to turn that off by hand. Oh, it's a nightmare. It's not a simple little system, you know.
Right.
I can't be simple. That's why I just can't do it, you know.
Well, it was pretty simple, and I'm excited about that because it made the transition back into the office pretty smooth for me. But, you know, they said that everybody is supposed to come back to work on Mondays from now on, and I showed up, and like very few of the managers were there. And I was
like they
what?
do. Come on,
and I was
now.
like, what is going on? And then I get an email halfway through the day that the Monday reporting schedule starts August 22nd. So I was like 3 weeks ahead.
Well, look at you get an early start on the whole process.
They told us it started in August, and so I just figured the 1st of August is today, so might as well show up.
Well, how does it feel to actually like commute to work and commute back? Like have like that feeling all over again. You've been out of the, for a while,
Out
right?
of the community. Well, I mean, I've been going in. Because I'd been sick here and there, I didn't go in as regularly. But I was supposed to go in like 2 days a week, but because I was working like out in districts and things like that, I very rarely was. Anyways, it felt interesting to go back in today. Kind of exciting, actually. Like I was dreading it at first, but then I started getting ready and I was like, oh, I can go in and I can do some work. And then I saw some of my work colleagues and I got so much stuff done today.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's a really fulfilling way to start the week is with a Monday that's so super productive, kind of gets the ball moving on lots of different projects that I need to work on for the rest of the week. So I thought it was a really great way to start the week. And then I got to come home to dinner made by my wonderful husband over here, Mr. House Husband.
House husband. Hey, I'm applying for the job. Is it available yet?
Nope. Job description's not open.
Oh, come on, man. I'd be so good at it.
But what'd you do today while I was gone?
Well, I took a trip over to Costco. We got dinner for tonight. By the way, shout out to Costco. The tacos. I was thinking about this the other day. Or today is
you were thinking about it the other day when we were sitting at dinner. I know what you're going to ask about.
But about the Costco tacos that we have for every time we have them every week. I was thinking, do they ever change those out? Because there was a time, and not that long ago, they didn't have them. They were only there like seasonal, like every like so often. Now they're there all the time. I have not seen them since I've been there.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask about your question of in different regions of the country, do they have different take and make meals?
I'm sure they do, but the ones here, they're basically like, I think I see them at the store too.
They're like a spicy chicken taco.
They're a spicy chicken, pre-cooked chicken, diced up meat, and they've got lettuce and cabbage, and
cabbage and cheese.
Yeah, cabbage and cheese, plus a couple salsas and a couple limes and a stack of corn tortillas. And it comes in a big package. They're about
But are they corn tortillas? Because I think they're flour.
No, they're corn. I'm pretty sure.
I think they're flour.
Are you sure?
I think they're like a yellow flour because they don't taste like corn.
I don't
know, but they don't taste like flour. I mean, like corn. They taste like flour.
Maybe they're a combination. Maybe they're hybrid. Is there a
hybrid
thing?
tortillas.
I don't know. But the whole kit is for like $15, and it serves like 3 to 4 people.
Yeah.
So we usually hook that up on a on a Monday night or whatever. It's easy to cook up. Just throw it in the skillet and you cook it. Basically just warm it up.
You just warm it up. You could just do it in the microwave, but you're like high tech.
I gotta cook it on the skillet with a little cover on and everything. Get the burners. I feel like I'm cooking. I feel like I'm actually cooking when I do put things like on the stove.
We should call it faux cooking because it's like you're tricking yourself into believing you're cooking. But regardless, I had a hot meal right after I came home from work today, and that was so great. So thank you for that.
You are welcome. Chef Kris is in the house.
Yeah, definitely. How much money did you spend at Costco today?
I don't know. Dollars and cents. I mean, who figures that stuff out?
Did you walk out with less than a full cart full?
Yes, it did. Actually, it did. Yeah.
Just only brought like 3 or 4 items.
Which is funny. You are allowed to go to Costco and buy only 2 things.
Yes.
That is a rule. Yes, you can do that.
And didn't you say that you can go into Costco and you can buy alcohol even if you don't have a membership?
That's what I heard, because they are a club, and Price Club and something with alcohol clubs were banned during the Prohibition era. So they cannot be any rules saying that a particular establishment has to have purchase a card or a club card to go purchase alcohol.
Interesting.
So you do walk in there. I've never seen anyone do this before, but I heard when you go in there, you tell them you're just buying alcohol, and they're supposed to give you a green card or a ticket or some kind of ticket or identification of some sort, saying you're only going in there to buy alcohol and you do not have a normal Costco card. So you're only allowed to buy the alcohol.
Well, we need to call a resident Costco expert to find that out. So maybe by the next edition of the Kris and Kristine show, we'll have an update for you to let you know whether or not you need a membership to buy booze at Costco.
Oh, look at Clover here. She's doing a big yawn.
I know. She's like, Mom, you're boring me. Let's move it on.
I'm holding her and I'm scratching her belly, and she's like yawning. She's sitting on my lap right now. Huh, Clover. She wants to get off, though.
Well, speaking of moving on, why don't you tell us about the things that you have planned for you this week?
This week, as far as like work or what?
Yeah, well, whatever way you want to tell us.
Well, it is a new day, a new work week coming up for me now. And see, I got the kids here. The kids are going back to their mom's house tonight.
Yeah, like an hour, I think.
Yeah, their mom's going to pick them up as soon as we're done wrapping this up here. And, by the way, on our radio station, K2 Radio, I just launched a brand new segment. I mean, it's not like brand new segment.
Oh, what's it called?
Well, I'm kind of working on the name, but so far I've called it K2 Radio.
Yeah, you're still working on it. He's like, you put me on the spot, Kristine. I don't have a name.
Well, I'm calling it acoustic songs or acoustic sessions, really.
Acoustic?
Acoustic, like
Oh,
acoustic.
acoustic.
I said acoustic.
No, acoustic.
That's what I said, acoustic.
Acoustic. You're a cute.
Thank you.
You're a cute stick.
Thank you. Cute. Clover's a cute too sometimes. But yeah, so what I've been looking up is for live acoustic performances by all well-known artists. And
like who?
Well, I put the very first session out today as you hear this. Today, I know. The very first session has 4 artists, 4 separate tracks. I have the band Bush. I have the band STP before. It's all, I mean.
What about Celine Dion?
I'm working on her. She's hard to book sometimes. She's busy. Up in Canada and stuff. It's cold up there and stuff. And all that. But see what else? Nirvana. I have a track by Chris Cornell. I found. I put that. Those are all on today's show.
So if it's acoustic sessions, like what is the inspiration behind that concept?
Well, I've kind of the idea of having them being live in the room, just playing on a guitar right in front of us, like that feeling. Which
so
everybody
you flew them all in here?
I sure did, yeah.
Man, look at you, Mr.
By the way, do not look at the credit card bill.
Mr. Rockstar.
I know. Fly it all in here, get them live shows here happening. So it's going to happen on K2 Radio. I have it set to go 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day.
Okay,
for a month until I change it out.
So 7 p.m. and 4 a.m.?
No, other way around.
Okay.
7 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Got it.
On K2 Radio. And at specific time, by the way.
And remind everybody how they can find K2 Radio.
Well, if you go to
Live 365 app.
Yes. Live365.com.
Or the Live 365 app.
Yes. And you just search up K2 Radio.
And so they can just stream our radio station.
That's right.
And how many hours is it running a day?
24/7. 365, baby doll.
Wow. Oh, that's why it's Live 365.
That's how they call it.
And it rhymes. I just realized that. Well, I'm really proud of you. You've started off. I mean, it's really great for us to reflect on where we started 3 years ago. If you listen back to those first couple of episodes, we were just trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And we were having fun. And we didn't know where this was going to lead. And after a week, Kris was addicted and we started doing weekly podcasts. And now, look at you. You have 2 podcasts. You have other people that reach out to you for your expertise. You run our social media. You DJ a radio station. You learned how to create websites. What do you think is your biggest accomplishment since we launched the Kris and Kristine show 3 years ago?
That's a very good question. I think that If you remember correctly, the very first episode, the very first time we cracked the mics at all, I was like, can we even do this? Like, is it even possible to even make this even happen? And I was like, I think we can do this. And we did do it. And I was kind of shocked when we did pull something off. It wasn't the greatest. We pulled something off. And I was like, wow, that was kind of fun. And then your friend at work was saying how great it was.
Yeah.
He was listening to it.
Was it Beef and Bitmojis? Was that our first one?
Yes, it was.
Aww.
And you had coworkers saying it was great. Family members mentioned it, saying that it was great. I was like, wow, people actually listen to this.
It's like, they like me. They really like me.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun. I've always wanted to be on the radio and do this kind of stuff and podcasting and, like not so much really like I do the YouTube stuff too, but not as much because some people are always like, hey, you got to do the YouTube channel. You got to do the YouTube stuff and do the camera stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. Video work is no joke. I mean,
it isn't.
To do it right with the different audio tracks. I was even thinking about this. Was it during Comic-Con, I believe it was? Or sometime actually going down there and doing like a full-on man on the street, recording the audio on one device and getting the camera footage on another device and trying to figure out how to put it all together and have multiple people down there recording stuff. That's a job.
All right, Squirrel. Back to my question.
What was your question, babe?
My question was, what do you think has been your biggest accomplishment in the past 3 years, little squirrel?
All of the above, baby doll. All of the above.
What? You didn't tell me.
I just did, babe.
About going and interviewing people? Tell me what it is. What do you feel like you are proud of accomplishing?
I think with podcasting, what people do realize when they get a podcast is that they, for the first time ever, get a chance to talk to people they normally would never talk to.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
And I know that for a fact that a lot of these smaller shows, or like shows that do interview shows, I mean, they would never, ever, would have a chance to talk to any of these people, meet them in person or talk to them ever at all, if it wasn't for the fact they had a podcast.
Yeah. And if you think of the places that we've had guests from all over the world, from all different walks of life. We've had from many different countries, from pretty much all of the continents, except for Africa, I think is the only one that we still need to have. Maybe a couple more, but we've had a lot of different guests from a lot of different walks of life, a lot of continents, and a lot of different backgrounds, and they just bring such a great perspective to our show.
It is, and it's funny how the technology works, because when we first started, like I said, I didn't know how to even do any of this stuff, I didn't know, like when I first thing I did was looked up, how do you make a remote call or talk to someone over the internet and record it at the same time? How do you even make that happen? I was looking at phone calls. I was looking at use your phone. I was trying to figure that stuff out. I didn't know what Zoom was.
Right.
And now you're saying Zoom's garbage. It's no good.
No. I wasn't saying it's garbage. I said that my work is moving away from it because it's not as secure. But anyway, you totally distracted me from talking about all of these amazing guests we've had on the show.
But don't blame me. Blame the cute dog in the studio,
If you didn't hear, Clover was whining because she found a piece of popcorn underneath one of the bookshelves that one of the kids had dropped. And so we had to distract her.
Oh, as you said that, she's like looking in that area like, hey, I want that.
Yeah. Well, we know we've had a lot of really exciting guests. And this week we have another fantastic guest. Speaking of being around the world, she has a really unique story of how her and her husband celebrate going to new countries. Right, Kris?
Yeah. Can you believe they get remarried in every single country on Earth?
In every country that they visit, they definitely do. But she has some great expertise about money and shifting the way that you see money in your life. We're going to be back with her right after this. Are you in the middle of wedding planning and feeling overwhelmed? There's no need to fret, my friend. Kristine Smith Designs is here to rescue you. Offering wedding planning, coordination, and wedding floral design services, let us help relieve your stress and make your wedding day dreams a reality. Visit us at KristineSmithDesigns.com. That's KRISTINE Smithdesigns.com and request a free consultation. You'll be so glad you did. And welcome back, everybody. Today we have a very special guest for you. I'm very excited to chat with her. She's a best-selling author, a pioneer in personal development, and regarded as the world's leading authority on transforming relationships with money. Welcome to the show, Morgana Rae.
Oh my God, that applause is the best way to come on.
Hey, Morgana, how you doing today?
Excellent, thank you.
We're so excited to have you here with us. Where are you joining us from in the world today?
From beautiful, sunny Long Beach, California, one of many beach towns in LA County.
Ooh.
Is that considered Orange County, right?
We are next to Orange County, and just, if I walk far enough on my beach, I will move from LA. It changes from LA County to Orange County.
Right. I think the border is somewhere in that spot. I remember driving on the 405, and then you go from like Orange to Los Angeles County, somewhere in that Huntington Beach, Long Beach area, I think.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Now, in Long Beach, is that where the big cruise terminal is? Like where all the cruises come in and depart from a lot of them from the West Coast?
Oh, lots and lots and lots. And it is, I think, the second biggest port in the United States, I think.
Is that like down by San Pedro, right? Or the
exactly. That's the neighbor on the other side.
Now, Kris, you used to load shipping containers at the Long Beach port, right?
Yes, I did that a couple times. I didn't care for it too much because the time I went in there, I was so lost, and they don't really help you at all, and you're trying to figure out like where to go, and like it's just a big mess of people and like trucks and stuff, and like, okay, find this trailer with this number on it. Okay, great. There's like a million of them. Where do I start? It was a big pain in the butt.
Oh, and whatever it was then is a million times more now.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I can only imagine, especially with all of the supply chain challenges we've had over the last couple of years. But have you lived in Long Beach your entire life?
Oh, no. I moved here in 2015. See, what happened is my husband now, my first ever husband, I was 47 years old, and he proposed to me over Skype when he was on a photo safari of South Africa, and I was leading my goddess retreat in Bali.
Oh, wow.
This is my first marriage. And I flew home, picked him up the next day, and we eloped, and I thought that was that. And then 2 weeks later, we went to Mexico because he's a travel journalist, and he spontaneously, as we were just walking by their iconic cathedral in Puerto Vallarta, he just, as sort of a goof, said, "Hey, want to get married again?" And we were sweaty and filthy and greasy, and we had just been massaged, and we looked disgusting. And I said, "Of course." So we walked to the front of their cathedral and took off our rings and made up new vows on the spot, and people in the pews cheered when we kissed. And he got this idea that we should get married 100 times in 100 countries. And I'm not an idiot, so I said, of course. By the way, today we're now, I think, 26 weddings deep. But so the way this leads to Long Beach is a year into our marriage, 14 weddings later, my husband suggested that maybe we might want to consider living together at some point in our relationship. And I freaked out because we were still living in our own places about a mile apart, which, by the way, for all couples, let me tell you, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Every night was date night. It was either his place or mine. My house was filled with all of my beautiful stuff. His house was his junk and not in my space. And he wanted to ruin all of it.
Oh,
so as soon as he said, right? Can you believe it? First with the marriage proposal when everything was going so well, and then with the, hey, let's live together. Where does it stop? So I started looking for a place that I liked as much as the townhouse I was renting in this beautiful historic district of Mid-Wilshire, built by Columbia Studios. I still kind of love it. But anyway, so I found a house for us in Long Beach. And because it wasn't like he could move into my place or I could move into his place, we needed an our place. So in 2015, I found it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
A beautiful Spanish colonial from 1937, kind of exactly the same style as the place I had in LA. And we moved down here and we love. We love the
1937, you said, huh?
So cute. And we have easy access to the beach and free yoga classes on the bluff. And Long Beach is friendly. I'm a big Long Beach booster. So yeah, my husband, had this idea that we lived together. I was certain it would destroy everything. But hey, 7 years later, we're still happily married and getting married again.
I was just going to say happily married 26 times.
Exactly. And by the way, this is so great when we fight. We don't fight often, but when we do, it's so painful. And here's his trick is I'm feeling hurt and wounded and furious and I hate you and what have I gotten myself into and all of those natural, normal human feelings. Mm-hmm. And then he'll say, look, I'm not going anywhere. I married you 26 times. I'm not going anywhere. I love you. I think we have so much more in common. He's such a relationship genius that way.
Oh, what a hero. What I was going to say is when you get married 26 times, do you have to get, heaven forbid, 26 divorces?
Well, that's the thing, is we're stuck. We're stuck. Yeah, 26 divorces and we locked our love in Ljubljana, Slovenia, which means that we bought a padlock and threw the key in the river, and it's now covered with slime and algae and whatever grows at the bottom of a river. And my husband is a terrible swimmer. So there's nothing that can be done. We're stuck.
There you go.
I love that. So when you go and you get married in these other countries, do you get marriage certificates in every country, or do you just like do a little ditty and say your vows and make it kind of symbolic?
It's different every time. I went in with no expectations. I went to Ross and bought myself a $20 white lace dress, which I got compliments on in Italy. And when they compliment the dress in Italy, you know you scored. So
little do they know.
So it's a cute dress. But anyway, it depends on the country. Again, because my husband, a combination of things. My husband is a travel writer, and then I have become very popular as a speaker. So we had a wedding in Manzanillo, Mexico back in 2019. That was huge and extraordinary, with like 40 Mayan dancers and a piñata and a dancing horse and a 10-year-old like rope lasso champion and incense and magic and all this kind of stuff that was created by an anthropologist. So this very authentic Mexican Mayan traditional wedding. I had no clue it was coming, but it was at an event for authors, an author award gala, and the host wanted me to be a speaker. So she said, well, if you come down, we'll marry you. And I said, that's a great excuse. We're coming.
There you
and
go,
I
yeah.
thought that she would just like marry us in a corner between events. Like I packed yoga pants and a tunic. That was my wedding gear. And I get down there and there's like this huge to-do that I had no expectation of, and it was amazing. So some places it seems really official, like Lake Bled, Ljubljana, they had their mayor in this fantastic like medieval grand poobah costume, cracking jokes about first night privileges, and a translator and the legal Slovenian wedding vows then translated into English. And we're in this 1,000-year-old fairy tale castle on the top of this little bluff, and this beautiful lake and a princess island down in the middle, and everything's glistening. It was my Cinderella wedding that I never knew I needed, but I really, really did. And so that was probably legal in Slovenia. We had another day-long medieval castle wedding in San Marino, which is a little republic, the oldest republic in the world, and it's on a mountaintop in the middle of Italy, but it's its own country. And the whole government is into medieval cosplay.
Oh, wow.
So it's like the mayor, or I guess it would be the king, or who was it, a king?
They have, it's a very specific government that I think either trades places or it's a co-principality, but I don't even remember how the government is organized, but it is a republic, and I used to know how it was organized. But you had all of these like tourism officials and government officials who were into medieval cosplay, so they were all dressed up and they gave us costumes, and the guy playing my dad is this incredibly hardcore guy who worked for the Foreign Legion, and he was a bodyguard for the Pope, and he's posting on Facebook all the time with these ginormous guns, and he played my dad, and he was telling my husband, you break her heart, and then he makes that, like, I'll cut your throat motion.
Oh, gosh. I'd be scared to death.
But it was so cool. Oh, and I almost forgot. The most important part is after the wedding ceremony, which was all day, and I'm up in this tower in my medieval underwear waiting for the marriage negotiations, and then these 4 ladies in waiting and 2 guards come up and they dress me, the women dress me and sing songs while the men like stand outside, and then we have this wedding ceremony, and then after they marry us, they knighted my husband.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, really? They can do
Yes. He is by the government of San Marino. He's a Caballero de San Marino.
Does he get like a parking space up front? Or what?
Or a special
perhaps,
knife or something?
But, for all of my little girl fantasies of a knight in shining armor, I have my bona fide, my husband is a knight.
That's
for
amazing.
reals.
Well, that is fantastic. So you're an expert Kristine's expert at weddings. You're an expert in getting married. So,
Yeah.
2 of you guys need to get together.
We should go into business together and I could just be your wedding planner for all the remaining 75.
Oh, that would be so wonderful. Some of the weddings are just like, hey, you, little girl behind the desk at our hotel, can you read the script?
Oh, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Now, with your husband being a travel journalist, I know that you go to different countries and you end up getting married for speaking and other reasons, but do you travel a lot with him while he's engaging in his research and writing for journalism?
It depends, if we can. Like, there's a fabulous tour host. It's called Flow Tours, based out of Florida, and they specialize in these amazing sort of off the beaten track tours. Our first trip together as a couple before we were married, we went to Armenia, Republic of Georgia, and Azerbaijan, which was mind-blowing. And they do a tour that we really, really want to do of the stands, like Kazakhstan and, all a bunch of the Middle Asia stands of these countries that just seem so exotic to me, and that we were going to do that, and then the pandemic hit. So he lets me come along. When I can come along, I come along, and then sometimes, Devin's just doing a job and there's no place for me, and that's fine. And when I'm leading a retreat in Bali, I kiss my husband goodbye, and I try to not schedule it on our wedding anniversary or his birthday, but I usually end up getting one of those wrong.
Well, Kris had a question for you, but I have to ask something just beforehand, is that you mentioned a goddess retreat in Bali, and I've seen some of my different girlfriends posting about goddess retreats in Bali. Is that like referring to a specific type of retreat there, or are all retreats in Bali for women considered goddess retreats?
Oh, no. This is a very specific retreat. I've also done it in Mexico. It's primarily for women who want to work with me specifically, and my signature process on transforming relationship with money, which is called financial alchemy. That's what I'm world famous for. And once a year, although I don't know that I'll be doing it next year because I've got some other things planned, but I do this really deep dive coaching retreat with a handful of women between 3 and 8. And I coach each one of them individually to slay their money monster and have a new relationship with money. And my women have made millions of dollars. Sometimes they come with something else. Like on a recent retreat, a woman was having a terrifying health challenge that was literally making her go blind, a neurological challenge. And so I actually coached her on her relationship with health. And the cool thing is that I'm following up with her after the retreat, and the symptoms of this neurological autoimmune disease are going away after the retreat. Like, her health is actually coming back. So I was a geeky religion major in the late 80s. I got my degree from Smith College in religion. To my father's... Are you
talking about like Christianity or religion in general?
Religion in general, world religion.
Okay, gotcha.
More from the perspective, I was the kid who was always asking these big questions like, what is it to be human? What is the nature of reality? How do we have a better experience? And those are that's why I'm a coach now, and that's why I studied religion, looking for, well, how do people around the world answer these questions. And my poor father was like, why can't you get a real major like government or writing? And ironically, I've used this obscure, bizarre, fun degree in my professional life, drawing from mythological archetypes. So I work with women individually on the relationship with money. And then I found seven different goddess archetypes that I like to use because they embody our powers and our challenges in 7 different areas of our lives.
Okay, go right ahead. Floor's all yours.
Yeah. Well, I start with the relationship with money, which is really a metaphor for our relationship with life and existence. So I use the mythology of Psyche and the god of love, which kind of parallels. She thought she married Eros or Cupid, not knowing who he was, thought he was a monster and almost lost him. So we start there. Then we move on to Aphrodite, our relationship with love, our bodies, our need to be appreciated and wanted and admired, I think is just a really deep human need. Persephone, how do we use our victim experiences for our own empowerment and to help others? So I like to use the goddess Persephone for that. Hecate, in mythology, Hecate helped rescue Persephone when she was kidnapped and dragged down into hell. So Hecate is the next goddess. I use her as our archetype and our goddess for setting boundaries, saying no. She also is a goddess of witchcraft and magic, and I just think that's fun.
Yeah, sounds like every woman I've dated in my life.
Right?
Ouch, Kris. Ouch.
Goddess Athena, who is the goddess of wisdom and strategy, and she's
Kristine,
also really
that's you.
Yeah. Well, she can get a really bum rap in the world, and she can also be very lonely and attacked. That's the challenge for Athena women, especially if you're visionaries and women. You can find yourself standing all alone, everybody telling you that you're crazy or being jealous of you. It can be very lonely and unsafe for Athena women, which is why I add her at the very end, because when you have the charm of Aphrodite and the sisterhood of Artemis and the heart and soul of Persephone, when you step into Athena and you're this visionary and this leader, you're also really, really enrolling, and you have a tribe of people who want to carry your message for you. And then it becomes easy, especially for women leaders and business owners. You need to have sisters and friends and fans helping you. That's what makes it sustainable. And then finally, the last goddess is Lakshmi. I jumped from Greece to Asia because there's no true abundance goddess in the Greek pantheon. Fortuna is really fickle, but Lakshmi is sort of all of it. She's abundance and protection and happily married. And everything that you want just rolled up into one. And when all the goddess archetypes are integrated, you naturally embody Lakshmi. So that's my pantheon for my money goddess retreat.
So with that, Morgana, do you work specifically only with women, or do you take on male clients also?
I have always worked with men. There have been times when I had more male clients. The retreat, sorry, guys, that's women only.
Okay, come on.
Yeah,
Now, please, come
I
on.
know.
I'll be a lot of fun. I'll be so much fun hanging out. You know?
Of course you will, and no. But no, I love coaching men. Men are tons of fun. One of the unexpected consequences of coaching relationship with money that I never predicted, but what I noticed is, so when a man slays his money monster, and the money monster is kind of the underlying, behind the scenes root cause that shows up as money drama, scarcity, or being the bank instead of the person. Just I've coached people on public assistance, and I've coached billionaires, so we'll just call it money drama. When a man slays the monster, which is the personification of the root cause, which will make sense if I'll try to share my story just to give it context. But what happens, which is really fun, is when they've slayed the monster, which is no easy feat to do, you can see it in their shoulders. Like they stand taller and they feel like heroes. And they show up in the world with that sort of confidence, which is really, really attractive to money, obviously, and clients, but also to romantic partners. And because they feel good about themselves. So there's this kind of, yeah, I did that, hero thing with the guys. And then with women, when they've slayed their monster, they soften because they can let down all this sort of armor that they set up to protect themselves. And they also become really, really attractive to money and clients and romantic love. One of my favorite clients, she actually had her first $250,000 sales month just using my Financial Alchemy book that's available on Amazon before she ever hired me. Now she owns the multi-million-dollar company that she used to make those sales for.
No way. Check that out.
But the coolest thing that came out of our coaching was, honestly, she got married. And she had been with this lovely guy for years, but it wasn't until she felt safe in her relationship with money that she felt safe to get married.
Morgana, I got to ask you this really important question. So how do you make money fall in love with you? When usually it's the other way around, everybody falls in love with money. They're following money. They're getting the next job. They're going for whatever.
Yeah, they're chasing it.
I need more money for this bill or that bill. I want this house or that house. It's always you climbing up the ladder. That's what they always taught us.
And what you just described does not sound like love at all. It sounds like greed and resentment.
And it sounds like every teenage girl, like chasing that guy that they want to go out with. And why isn't he calling me back? Why is he ghosting me?
Or every teenage guy who just wants to get laid and doesn't see the girl as a human being.
True.
So when you're relating to money as, I resent you, but I want you for what you can do for me. Ew.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that feels awful. So the way to make money fall in love with you is, first of all, get really, really honest about the current relationship and everything that's wrong in the current relationship. I like to start there. And we're going to go deeper than that. So I might trick a client by starting very gently with, okay, so tell me anything negative you've seen or experienced with money. And we'll start with money stories, but the solution is never there. And I know there are some coaches who say, change your money story, change your life, which, by the way, is great marketing, also doesn't work. So because money is just a symptom. Money is something that we human beings invented, made up. It doesn't really exist. It's just sort of a shared delusion that one purse is worth $5 and another is worth 5,000, but they're just bags. So the reason money is such a weird, sticky, problematic thing in our lives, like we'll talk about our sex lives these days at full volume in public, but not about how much we make or how much we owe or anything. There have been scientific studies back in 2009. They would take studies when people are talking about love or in relationship or a picnic and they're all in that loving place, different parts of their brain lights up. And as soon as the topic of money comes up, all the loving, happy, expansive, relaxed, best human parts of the brain shut down and the survival, frightened, competitive part lights up. So we know that. We know that that's what money does, and that's what I want to change. So first we start with maybe the negative money ideas, but it's what money represents. That's where you're going to find the real root cause. So money represents love. Money represents worth. Money represents safety. And, when it comes to health insurance in the United States, our right to exist. And it represents power. Do I have power or not? If you look at our first relationship with money is our relationship with our parents. Did they make us feel loved, safe, worthy, powerful, or not? And a lot of us had great parents, well, as good as they could do. But I've coached people who had lovely parents in childhood, and that kind of set them up for a big disappointment when they got out in the world, and they were not loved and valued and safe and powerful as they expected.
Is that like everybody gets a trophy kind of, the crowd where grew up where
Right.
like the parents paid for everything, they took them everywhere. If they needed money for anything, the drop of a hat, they were handed to them. So when they get in the real world and get a real job, and they do a subpar job, the boss may fire them or discipline them.
Yeah,
And you're like, what?
painful reality check. I even had a friend who specifically coached children of celebrities because once they go to college and they aren't special, it's a real shock. Mm-hmm. So when you get it's sort of like being an attorney making a case against every painful thing in your life. And to my people who are into law of attraction and positive thinking, fabulous. I would take off your positive thinking law of attraction hat temporarily and put on a victim hat instead temporarily and really go into any life experience that made you feel unloved, unsafe, not valued, and powerless. And it can be accidents or violence or an illness or a teacher who said something that hurt your feelings in passing. It really can be something that seemed nothing at the time, but really had an impact on you, made you feel not good enough. That's where I want you to look, and I want you to build up enough of a feeling about that you actually are like really engaged, full body, emotionally. That's necessary for change. That's lighting up your neurology. It's a key requisite of neuroplasticity. I want to rewire your brain around money from this monster of scarcity and limitation, and you're not good enough and the world is unfair. And I want to light up all those feelings and all those beliefs. And then through a leap of weird creative imagination, I want you to imagine that there's an actual person who's been pulling the strings in your life, your whole life, to create every terrible thing that you've ever experienced, and beyond that, all the things that are wrong with the world. And it's an imaginary person who is targeting you specifically. And it's necessary to do this because until we make it a person, it's just like a fascinating abstract idea that we could discuss forever and nothing changes. But when it becomes a person who has a size and a smell and thoughts and fingernails and teeth and eyes and opinions about you and wants to do something to you, that becomes very real. And that's step number 2. The first step is uncover the root cause. Step number 2 is personify the root cause. And we call that your money monster. And that is the flesh and blood embodiment of your unconscious relationship with money.
So I love that you just said that, Morgana, because Kris and I, we talk a lot about money in our relationship. Actually, we were sitting down because we're leaving on vacation in a few days with our family, and we were charting everything out in terms of our expenses so that we keep on track with it. But one of the things, Kris, when you and I are talking about money or when bad things happen to you, what do you say?
I don't know. I mean, you tell me what you tell me.
You make comments like nothing in my life ever goes right.
Oh, it's always the F me life speech.
Yeah, F my life. Everything always hates me. But one of the things that you were saying, Morgana, really stuck out to me is because when even I do that, like, oh, why does everything bad always happen to me? But that's leaving it like nebulous, and you don't know where the hit is going to come from. But if you were to take all of this negativity and attribute it to a monster, like the money monster or the bad mojo monster or whatever, then you can start like defeating that in some way, which I know you'll probably get to, but it makes me think about like when it comes to money. So for perfect example, and Kris, like I've said before we even started this interview, we like to be very personal. So over the last several weeks, and we have had a decent savings, but we had hit after hit financially come to us that was very unexpected. First, it was because we bought a new house. It was this supplemental tax bill that was several $1,000s. And we were like, okay, we can do that. You know, we have the savings. But then it was our sports car. The clutch went out, and that was another, several $1,000s. And then it was that came back from being repaired, and it was one more thing with the car. And then it was something in my car broke. And then it was like, why is the universe out to get us? And I think what you're saying is, instead of making it so abstract, like there's some force outside of our control that's out to get us, personifying it and like making it as if it's a monster. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. And what I really want you to do, and to anybody listening, let me tell you, the person who is in the most anger or anguish and anxiety right now, you have such a huge advantage on this process. So if you're in it, yay you, it makes it really, really easy. So I want you to take those thoughts and beliefs and act as if they're real. Act as if, wow, the universe is really out to crush my hopes. And it's, by the way, side note, it's not just money. I did this process years ago on a woman who had been trying to get pregnant for years and years and years and years. And she just felt like she was like her nose pressed against the glass, looking at this world of happy families that she was denied. And within a day of slaying this, what do we call it, infertility monster, and having this new relationship with fertility, the next day she tested positive for pregnancy.
Look at that.
And she has 2 kids now.
Wow.
So I've had multiple like health things resolve. It's because it's, what we're really talking about is relationship with life. I like to focus on money because it is the biggest monster. It touches absolutely every facet of life. So it's the easiest to make a monster. And it also is an area of life that needs our healing and transformation the most. So take all that as if you really are the victim, and the universe hates you and just really wants to destroy you bit by bit by bit by bit, and then make it a monster. And then step 3, and by the way, the monster cannot be you and it cannot be your parents, because in step number 3, you make a choice to destroy the monster. Only one of you gets to survive. And so you put everything that you don't want to continue in your life experience, and you believe it. You believe that all this is wrong. You believe that this monster is real, because whether you do consciously or not, your unconscious believes it's real. And you put it into this monster, and then you decide to destroy it, obliterate it, leave no bloody bits, suck it up with the universal vacuum cleaner. By the way, I tend to appeal to a very peace-loving and often vegan crowd.
Okay.
Very spiritual, and this can make them uncomfortable sometimes. But I just say, channel some sacred warrior and really slay this monster as dramatically as you want. There's so much energy to that.
So when you talk about money, what do you say with those who, I guess you kind of put it on the same category, is the ones that do not have a lot of money really to begin with. So they're either homeless or on the verge of being homeless. What do you say to those folks?
I say use it. It's a place to start. Wherever you are is the place to start. Use it. Use it. And that will make sense in 3 more steps. It's a 6-step process. I have coached clients in terrible, terrible, terrifying situations where they were on the verge of homelessness. I did have a client who was homeless, who gave me a huge testimonial. He wasn't a client. He had heard an interview with me, made a bunch of money, and then I met him afterwards. He was the brother of somebody who had been buying my book and listening to my recordings for years in New York. He was living homeless in Hawaii and listened to a recording and got my book at her recommendation. And then he made money. You will have a relationship with money your entire life.
Whether you have it or
you
not.
You want to have a good relationship with it so that when you make it, you get to keep it. Just making money or having more money solves some problems, but it doesn't solve the problem. I've coached clients with hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars who had drama, fear of losing it. It was getting It was destroying their relationships. They were being targets. So here's why you want to have a great relationship with money, because when you have a great relationship with money, and I've changed that relationship with money with them, they had better relationships with people.
And why is
that? They make better choices because your relationship with money is a metaphor for your relationship with life, and it's going to show up everywhere. It's a metaphor for your relationship with yourself. It's a mirror of your own worth, your own self-trust, your own self-love, your own sense of your own power. So, and it's how we as a species measure all this stuff. You didn't make it up. It's not your fault, but it is hopefully your responsibility, because the ability to respond is the greatest power and gift we have. So I've got 3 more steps that I have to get through really quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, when the monster is gone, and I say make destroying the monster as dramatic as you possibly can, and when it's gone, and you'll know it, because it'll feel different than anything you've experienced in your life. You've had this relationship your whole life, and you were never aware of it, but when it's gone, it's like, wow, there's an empty space there, and it may feel great, it may feel frightening, and any difference is good. That means success. When it's gone, check to make sure there's no lingering residue. If there is, just blow it up, get rid of it. But when it's really gone, you will feel this empty space, and immediately you want to fill that space, because nature abhors a vacuum, and you don't want some rando monster that belongs to somebody else popping into your life experience. So you want to replace it with a new relationship with money. And when you've destroyed the monster and everything that the monster represents, all that remains is love. So this new person, and it will be a person, will feel like the embodiment of love. And it works best when it is what I would call a lover archetype, meaning if you like men, it's going to be a hot guy. If you like women, it's going to be a hot woman. If it's non-binary, it's going to be a hot non-binary person. And this comes up all the time when I coach couples like you. Oh my God, I feel like I'm cheating on my spouse with my money, honey. And this is my response. Great, good job. And you will never physically cheat on your spouse with your imaginary friend, but your spouse will really, really enjoy the benefits of that erotic, sexy energy. And your money, honey, if you're in a good marriage, your money, honey, is going to be like your marriage's number one fan, and is going to really, really want you to just be happily married and loved and admired and exalted and being your best self. So great.
Awesome.
And it's also saved a lot of marriages that were on the brink. Because when you're getting certain needs met by your imaginary friend, your money honey, it takes a lot of pressure off your spouse, so you can show up more loving. And so that's step 4 is you meet your money honey. Step 5 is now you have a conversation, which is what's so great about making money a person. Oh, and I forgot the most important part, because this is the answer to the question that you asked 40 hours ago, which is how do you make money fall in love with you?
Right.
Your money honey is in love with you and has always been in love with you, and will often feel like this person has been there for a long time, but you never experienced them because you were dating the monster and so you can't really experience the honey when the monster is in the room. When the monster is gone and all that's left is the honey, the number one rule of your money honey is your money honey loves you and chooses you over everybody in the world. And it's unconditional. This person loves you as you are and sees who you really are behind all your neuroses and stuff. But this money person, imaginary money person, their presence isn't unconditional. If you abuse yourself, or you reject money and break your money honey's heart, money is going to leave. Or if money needs to get your attention for your own empowerment and evolution and your next lesson that's going to be really good for you, or is correcting your course so you can make even better choices, yeah, you might notice, oh, wow, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with clutches and taxes and drama. What does money need me to know so that I can let go of this pattern and have more abundance? What do you need from me, money, so you can be with me the way you obviously really do want to be with me because you love me? And that's step 5 is have that conversation with your money. Honey, what do you need me to know here? What do you need from me so you can be with me? Hottie. Yeah, and then step 6 is concrete measurable action, because we have bodies. So we have the power. And more than anything else, we need to let ourselves know that this relationship has changed and give it, if we want to have physical results, it's kind of magic 101. Actions. Every religious faith on earth will end with, and take action. So you have a conversation with your money honey, and I would just say brainstorm, come up with ideas. And sometimes it may be obvious and on the nose, like balance your checkbook or pay your taxes. And sometimes it might be go dancing with your husband, go to the beach, get a massage, so just some action to just sort of lock in this awareness that this relationship is now loving. And you take that action to demonstrate more than anything else that you are your word. And you're trustworthy, and the key word being worthy.
I love that so much. So with that being said, Morgana, where can our listeners find out more about you and your book if this is something that's piqued their curiosity?
Sure. Yeah. And first of all, apologies to the listeners. I just tried to cram 20 years into 15 minutes. and so there's a lot of really important stuff that I left out. Don't beat yourself up over that. It's just, we have limited time here. So I invite you to go to morganarae.com. It's just my name with a .com at the end. And you will find my 4-part Money Magnetic video series, which takes more time and goes deeper into certain things that I didn't get to here. There is my Money Love quiz, which is really good to just get a sense of where you are in the journey. It's pain-free. There's no failing. It's not judgy. It just is like, oh, okay, this is where you are. This is what I recommend you should do next. And I always, always, always include free resources. I also have hundreds of articles and videos to answer your questions on my blog. So I would go there first. And for a curated, hand-holding guide through my process and then keeping on track and making miracles happen, I recommend my book, Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation, all of which is available on my website. By the way, secret, if you come back to my website after you purchase it, wherever you purchase it, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever, if you come back to my website with your name, email address, and your receipt number, you will get a bonus, I think it's 2.5-hour Q&A call recording that I did when I launched the book. This is in addition to the bonus recording that is linked inside the book. Nobody on Amazon knows about this. Only you, because you're special.
Look at that.
It goes into details to make the process work better.
Fantastic. I'll put all of this in the show notes of this episode today.
Definitely. Well, you've given us a lot of food for thought, Morgana, and I think that this is something that Kris and I are going to simmer over and just talk about our relationship with money. I don't know how comfortable I feel about him having a money honey, but you know what?
Well,
if it helps us,
it's better than a sugar daddy.
Well, it could be my sugar daddy, I guess, if that's who I want to make it. But we just want to thank you so much for being on the show today. And any last words of wisdom for our listeners?
Yeah, change happens at the speed of safety. So if you've been doing everything right and you aren't getting the results that you desire and deserve, it is in my experience, having coached many, many thousands of clients over the last almost 30 years, that the odds are you are protecting yourself from what you want. You have very, very good reasons. You're not crazy. You're protecting yourself from what you want. So we just need to make it safe. And when we make money safe and loving, it's really amazing how quickly and dramatically your outside life circumstances can change for the better.
Fantastic.
That's my line. Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, Morgana. We appreciate your time, and we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you. Have a great vacation.
Thank you. If you love music and podcasting, now you can have both. Introducing the brand new K2 radio station, available 24/7 on the Live 365 app for free.
Specializing in rock and alternative music, we're talking bands like Coldplay, Nirvana, Muse, Imagine Dragons, and yes, even the Rolling Stones. They have all stopped by to drop off songs, and we even have brand new popular tracks added every single day.
Also on the free K2 radio station, we are including podcasting. Get the best of both worlds. Download
Hey, that
the
was
free
great to have
Live
Morgana Rae on the
365
show
app
today.
or listen
Yeah, definitely.
online
I loved
at
how she talked about money
live365.com and
type
figuring
in
out how to
K2 radio.
really embrace money in a different way in your life so that you have a healthier relationship with it.
Yeah, and all that traveling and getting married again all over again. I don't know if I could do that. I'm being married twice already. It was a lot. I get married.
But it's talking about getting married to the same person. You wouldn't marry me over and over again?
Baby, I marry you in my mind. I have dreams about marrying you all the time.
Do you?
You know what? I do. You know why?
Why?
All the weddings we go to and
Oh,
actually
that's
work
so
at.
true.
I bet you if you go to so many events like you have been, do you sleep weddings, dream weddings? when you sleep?
I do dream about a lot of weddings, and I dream about things going wrong with weddings, but then it wakes me up in the morning, and then I go through my checklist of making sure that we're on track with all of the different weddings. And
there's three things that wake me up every morning.
What?
Now, it could be a random three. I don't know which one's going to be this today, but three things wake me up. One, it could be the alarm clock.
Okay.
Obviously. Second, it could be, I have to use the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing that can wake me up is a little Clover Bear over there wanting to be taken out of her little kennel and taken downstairs.
Definitely. But yes, I get woken up by Clover and wedding nightmares.
I've had a really solid nightmare in a while. I did have an interesting dream yesterday, though. I remember.
What was it?
I was in a weird hotel. It was part aliens were there or something, or spaceships. It was kind of a mishmash of something happened a long time ago. It happened today. Or aliens were buried under the ground, the basement of the hotel or something weird. And then we're staying there or we own the place or I don't know if we live there or what the deal. It was a mishmash of things. My dreams are all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of like you, right?
So 100%.
And kind of about this episode. I mean, other than our fantastic interview, we've been a little bit all over the place because we're just celebrating all the good things. Happy podcast anniversary, honey.
Oh, thank you, babe. And happy anniversary to you, baby.
Oh, podcast anniversary.
Oh, did I say that wrong? I meant a podcast anniversary. A podiversary.
Well, I like that, podiversary. So, Kris, where can our listeners find out more about us and the last 3 years of our podcasting journey?
Well, you can always go to our website, which is krisandkristineshow.com. Don't you worry, the pretty little head, because all of that will be listed in the show notes of this episode. Just click down below. They're right there.
And you can find out information about Morgana Rae and all of her amazing adventures and her excellent expertise. And don't forget to check out our website. Check out our video that we talked about last week regarding our wonderful family vacation. You can connect to Podtastic Audio, Kris's podcast. You can connect to K2 radio station and also Kristine Smith Designs. We are a one-stop shop over here.
It's all right there at krisandkristineshow.com.
And we'll be back with you
next week.